Hey everybody, it's Kenji with Ecotone Explorer. We're here at the Sea Otter Classic in Monterey, California at the legendary Laguna Seca Raceway. And we're here to visit Giant Bicycles and my friend An Lee. So An has been with Giant for 15 years, is that right?
That's right.
And Giant Bicycles is one of the leading brands in the bike world. And even though Giant doesn't make products necessarily for outdoor sports overall, we're going to talk a little bit about where Giant does see the future of the outdoor industry and bike and where they come together. And that's, of course, what we do here at Ecotone Explorer. So maybe just to start a little bit on, tell us a little bit about your career arc.
Sure.
And where you started and how you got to where you are.
Yeah, like a lot of us, I started in the bike business by being a bicycle retailer. And actually my first job was in the outdoor industry. First job after the bike shop job. So first job was at outdoor retailer. First business trip was to Salt Lake City. So if you remember back in the day. And I've stayed in the outdoor / bike industry pretty much my whole life. So 15 years in at Giant, and I do see the bike industry as part of the outdoor industry. So that's how I see it. Probably just from my upbringing in terms of enjoying the outdoors, enjoying cycling, and of course spending time at outdoor retailer. So that's how I see it, and that's how I see the bike business. And kind of the greater opportunity that we have is going beyond just cycling and looking at more just active-minded people. So, but that's my background, and outdoor and bike have been pretty much part of my life for the past 30 years of my career. So.
Well, awesome. That's great. And I think that to that point, the big secret I'll share with you, and this is, of course, just my opinion, but there really is no outdoor industry. Like the outdoor industry is made up of pockets like cycling, paddle, climbing, adventure travel, and all the different other aspects of motorized and hunting and fishing. So outdoor industry as we know it is really the active, human-powered, whatever you want to, all the different wonky terms. But it is a place where we all kind of have this common frame of mind and substrate of the industry. And so that's how I see it, like you do, that we all benefit from investing in public lands access, in maintenance and infrastructure development. Yeah. So I think that is what this California Outdoor Recreation Partnership that we're working together on a little bit is about, is trying to have a stronger voice for this greater outdoor recreation industry, because it is an economic engine of its own. And so I wanted to recognize you and Giant for seeing that vision pretty clearly early on, and realizing that investing in that and being part of that movement is beneficial to the bike industry at large. Is going to get more people in better experiences on trails and on roads and other outdoor pursuits. Because really at the end of the day, you're not trying to fill everybody's garage all with bikes. You just want some bikes in there with all the other toys, right? That we love. So on that front, can you tell me about kind of Giant's experience and vision? I know you guys have really invested in Live, the women's design products, and what else is there beyond that? And you mentioned a little bit about like outdoor, the outdoor industry and the outdoor rec is kind of the future. So what do you think about that aspect?
Yeah, I think for us, part of it is just being a good citizen in the outdoor industry. So we do a lot of work with People for Bikes. We obviously support what you're doing with Corp, and really trying to become more than just a business, right? You have to be more of a community leader, trying to set the stage, even at the local level. One example was just educating local rangers on e-bikes. Making sure that we're breaking down that misconception about e-bikes, and just simply getting our local state park employees to understand what it is, understand the enjoyment, understand that it's not destructive to trails. And just doing it at that level as well as at the national level or even statewide. In terms of what we're doing to inspire more people to enjoy the outdoors, we do a lot of partnerships with our retailers, making sure that they have what they need to really create that inspiring space. because retail is really where we see our success exists. There's a lot of talks about e-com and all of that, but let's be honest, only about 8% of sales come through from consumer direct.
Yeah.
Retail is the lifeblood for Giant, and not just retail, but IBD, independent bicycle dealers. So anytime that somebody asks me, what are we doing? It always goes back to retail. It's always back to how do we invest more? How do we help the retailer educate consumers? How do we help them create inspiring spaces? And then of course, product, right? How do we create products that get more people inspired to ride? So whether it's a $1,000 bike or a $10,000 bike, that's really going to be our focus. The other aspect of it is focusing more than just the bike, developing helmets, developing footwear, components, everything to really help that consumer enjoy the outdoors as much as possible. So those are some of the things we're doing.
Awesome. So you mentioned e-bikes, and that's a really fascinating aspect of the industry to me, and I know it's one of the faster growing parts of the bike industry. And I've heard about this 3-tiered kind of regulatory framework that's being proposed. Can you speak to that a little bit, just to help me understand?
Yeah, if you want to know more about all of the regulations, I would just go to peopleforbikes.com and really learn more about that. We've done a great job of outlining the regulations, but not only that, but also helping you understand where you can ride. It gets pretty complicated, but we've really simplified that through our work with People for Bikes. So I would say start there. Any consumer can go on. It's obviously free access, but it literally gives you access to, typing in your zip code and understanding, oh, this is where I can ride, this is where I can't. Once you get into all the specifics of regulation, I think it gets a little confusing for consumers. Mm-hmm. So we try to really break down that barrier. But for us, e-bike is really just a new way to get consumers to enjoy the outdoors. And it's not just people who are looking for an easy way up. It's really not that at all. It's really opening doors up to commuters, which is a big factor, especially as we move into more urban environments. It's going to play out in a much more substantial way beyond just recreation. But People for Bikes is really the best resource when it comes to understanding regulations and also access.
Great. And my passion around access and inclusion as well. And I think that I'm interested to hear your view. You and I kind of occupy relatively rare space in the markets that we play in, and certainly in the outdoor space, there's a lot of opportunity because of the barrier of entry, or the relative low barrier of entry, to have more people participate in the activities that make up our markets. And but at the same time, there's kind of an entrenched challenge around that. Inclusion, improving the diversity and appeal. Obviously, Giant has invested in that through your work with Live around gender. Are there other things that you do as a company to kind of help expand the tent?
Yes, for sure. But Live is a great example. Developing a women's brand really has given us a new lens in terms of inclusion and diversity, and really how far we have to go. It's still a long way to go for sure. And we're beyond that, we're working with a lot of different athletes that are not from traditional backgrounds. And that's a process that requires us to really, find the right people, find the right ambassadors that fit the brand. It's not necessarily just to say that we're diverse, but it's really finding the right people, the right connections. You're going to see a lot of that from us in the next few months in terms of communicating that about, really helping new riders, whether they're professional riders or just somebody who's trying to get into the sport, and helping those riders from communities that aren't traditionally known for participating in cycling. So doing a lot of that. A lot of it is really from the ground up, a lot of grassroots, sort of one by one, and for us, that's really the best way to do it. And then continuing, of course, to invest in Live and driving that as far as we can. And we've recently, really put a focus on just internally, how we hire, where we recruit, doing all the things that we need to do to begin that process of, making sure that we're, walking the walk, right? And making sure that we are doing what we can internally as a corporation to bring more diversity, bring more inclusion, but more importantly, bring more diversity and talent and thought. So it's going to benefit all of us.
Yeah, and I should have said that An is the global marketing lead for Giant. So really you have a big job, and I love how you put that. That it's got multiple points of approach on your front: outreach, the marketing side of it, choosing the athlete ambassadors, but also recruitment, retention, all of the internal things. They all have to happen at the same time. So it really requires a leadership presence. So I want to congratulate you for kind of doing that at Giant, and I can see that. And I see that there's a few companies doing it in outdoor, and I certainly want to see a few more doing it. And I feel like that's certainly a huge opportunity in bike as well. Yeah. You can see at events like this that there's a pretty good cross-section of people that come here. But then when you look at the people working in the industry, it's different.
Right.
So when pivoting over to that, the way that a lot of us sort of see and experience the industry is at trade shows.
Right.
And so now there is no national trade show called Interbike, which has been the show to go to for many decades,
right.
And that you worked for some time,
yeah.
And I worked next to. And so without that there, how does that change how you look at events?
Mm-hmm.
Do you look to do your own? Do you feel the sort of are you missing that B2B industry group hug that happens in Vegas or Reno over the years? Tell me about your event strategy.
Yeah, for sure. I have deep love for interbike. I was going to interbike back in the early 90s as a retailer. Obviously worked at interbike. It's a great show. It's a great brand. I think the biggest value for interbike was just bringing the people together. It wasn't launching products. It wasn't selling products, because that kind of have changed in the last few years. So that was really unfortunate to see. But from our standpoint, we've already started changing our approach to events 10 years ago. So yeah, for sure, we do our own dealer events. Mm-hmm. We do events year round. We do demos, we do consumer events like Otter Classic. And in many ways, Otter Classic's become the trade event. Mm-hmm. This is an opportunity where the industry meets and connects, do business, race bikes, ride bikes. It's really a festival that includes B2B and B2C, which is interesting. But then, I recently went to NABS, the North America Handmade Bike Show, and that was also a really healthy and dynamic event. So, I think you see a lot of regional events continue to exist. And so I think the industry will take opportunities to do that. Plus, Outdoor Retailer. That's a show that is still, really dynamic, really growing. And I'm looking forward to actually going back there in June to really see. I haven't been there since they moved from Salt Lake. Yeah. But I think Outdoor Retailer is also a really great show for the bike industry to either go and be part of that community, or at least learn from the outdoor industry. So it's multifaceted, but I think from our side, from an actual event side, in terms of launching products, we have that. We do that internally. But it's now just looking at what else is out there, whether it's at Otter or Outdoor Retailer, to connect with the larger community, right? So,
yeah.
But I do hope that at some point the Interbike brand and the Interbike name comes back, whatever form it comes back in, whether it's a conference, whether it's an outdoor event. I hope it does come back, just because I think it has, it means a lot to a lot of people in the bike business. So.
Yeah. I'm with you. Yeah. Well, yeah, you stole my thunder around Outdoor Retailer, but they're talking about bringing it to November, Outdoor Retailer, because it's where they have some space, and there's some opportunity there. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think for us as a cycling brand that at this point, we're really looking to kind of share the joy of cycling, and it'd be interesting to see what opportunities there are to really get more people on bikes. I don't see a brand like Giant, setting up a 20 by 20 and doing a traditional booth.
Yeah.
But I do see opportunities to connect with the outdoor retailer, and I see them more as consumers, right? Because these are also like-minded, active-minded people that will ride bikes. So we're talking to outdoor and trying to see what opportunities exist to kind of be more of an experiential play versus a traditional setting up a booth, which I think makes less sense for our brand. Maybe it makes sense for some other brands. So, but it'd be interesting to see, and I hope that it starts to be the catalyst to bringing back interbike in some form. So.
Well, awesome. Thank you, An, for that. Before we wrap up, I just wanted to ask, where do people go if they're interested to learn more about Giant bicycles or Live, you mentioned People for Bikes a couple times.
Yep.
So why don't you just go ahead and share, so I don't get it wrong.
Yeah. No, we, Giant and Live were the best way to find us, obviously, online. So giantbicycles.com or livecycling.com. And that's really a starting point. Social media, we're quite engaged in Facebook and Instagram and all the channels. So, but start on the website and find us at events. You can find all the events locally on our website. So you can do demos, you can connect with the brand, you can learn more about the bikes. So it all starts online. So, and of course, visit our retailers. And really learn more about the bikes, and you can actually get on a bike and test it out and see what works for you. So thank you, Kenji.
Yeah. Well, right on. Thanks for sharing your time with us, An Lee. An is the global head of marketing for Giant Bicycles, and we're here at the Otter Classic at Laguna Seca Raceway in Monterey, California, where the bike industry's largest event in the world is taking place right now. So thanks again, man. I really appreciate your time and your support.
Thank you.
Hey everyone, it's Kenji with Ecotone Explorer. We're here with An Lee and Giant Bicycles at Laguna Seca Raceway, where the Otter Classic is happening right now, the largest bike gathering in the world. If you're interested in those ecotones, those edges of the outdoor world, subscribe to our channel, maybe leave us a comment, and follow us a little bit on social media. You can find us at Ecotone Explorer, and hopefully see you around.